Welcome to another fabulous edition of the Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast with me, your host with the most. As we've discussed in previous episodes, my adjectives are so long. We do not have enough timing on this program for me to truly explain to you all the ways in which I'm phenomenal, amazing, excellent. So for lack of time, I'll just say that you know me most as producer, TV host, writer, etc., all protocols observed. But most importantly, you know me as a woman on the campaign to make Sierra Leone famous for the right reasons. Today on the show, we have three amazing guests. They're working within an ecosystem in entertainment and the arts and the creative sector to bring people together for enjoyment. And you know, Skadi. I know they talk about Skadi now, but Skadi. When we they talk about salon, waiting them may know we for now because we country sweets. You know, the country being so sweet. It was so sweet. They called it Sweet Salon. And these three entrepreneurs are making their contributions to making Sierra Leone sweeter for the right reasons. And they bring these sweetness back to Sierra Leone. Today, we're looking at the rise of festivals, right? And now, what's a festival? A festival is really just a gathering to celebrate. Most festivals that people know may be religious. Other festivals are social, or but in all ways, they're always celebratory, right? You know, they get festival for sadness. Any side Usai Festival Day, na a time of enjoyment and celebration. Now, across the world, if you can think of it, there's a festival for it. There's a chocolate festival. There's a wine festival. There are fashion festivals. There are film festivals. There are photography festivals. There are dance festivals. There's a festival of lights, okay? A lot of cities and countries and cultures use festivals to either celebrate something that is dear to them that they want to continue to practice, or they really want to be known globally for a particular thing. So they might start a festival, and like a festival of kites, which also exists, to promote travel and tourism and bring people to that region. So it may not even necessarily be that that's where kites began or kites' importance for the culture. But person can just wait today, say, you know what, saying we want to bring tourists, we want to bring people that come now with community for can spend money. So let's create a festival of kites. And if you do it every year, it becomes a branded and well-known festival. And before long, people will be traveling far and wide to come and visit your festival. So my question today to my three guests is, what's up with the rise of festivals in Sierra Leone? What are they doing to be a part of that culture? And where do they think that this new rise is going? What is it offering in terms of value to our community? In the studio today, like I said, these people are trying to make salon sweets. And for that, we appreciate that. First up, I have Emily Fanday, who is an entrepreneur with over 10 years of experience in various sectors. She's the founder and lead for Connect SL, and also the lead for Food Fest. And Drink Fest. Food and Drink Fest. Welcome to the show, Emily. How are you doing today?
I am fine. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We are very excited to have you, Emily. We want to hear all about Food Fest. Our next guest today in the studio is Alpha Abdul Aziz. I think a lot of people just know him as Abdul Aziz. He is a digital artist, illustrator, performing art. So he's just like an all-around fabulous creative. And he is trying to do interdisciplinary work that connects art, architecture, fashion, design, science. I met him when he was doing work for Unifest, and he's one of the creative directors at Unifest, and he also has his own kind of arts group called My Own Artist or Me Own Artist. Welcome to the show, Aziz.
Thank you for having me again.
You're welcome. And my third and final guest is someone who I like to think of like, you know, like my clients of old. You know, we don't they work together for many years for promote and I go say amplify the impact of the work we already they do in the music and entertainment sector. Today our third guest is Mr. Abubakar Kabaka. Say, what's his first name, Seth? Because most of us fondly call him Kabaka. He is a barrister and solicitor of the High Court of Sierra Leone. But most of us really know Kabaka from KME, Kabaka Multimedia Entertainment, and ECOFEST Music Festival. You don't want to get estate consultants back? Wow. His bio here says that. Okay. It's not just the entrepreneur. Okay, but you're an entrepreneur. So any Southside money day, Kabaka is there. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I want to start with you. Like, what do you think that young people are looking for? As we look around Sierra Leone, we see I feel like right now in the last 24 months, if you can think of it, there's been a festival for it in Sierra Leone. What do you think, as one of the first leaders of industry to kind of emerge with a very strong brand with ECOFEST, Kabaka, what do you think is going on in this I'm not going to say resurgence, but this big poolado of festival na salon? What are young people trying to accomplish? What is driving them towards festival as a format?
Well, I think first and foremost, everyone, wants to have fun. Making money and having fun is a good, way to actually live. So I think the whole idea of festivals, the emergence of this, of course, before ECOFEST, there were festivals,
of course,
Tangains, there are a few others,
right?
But I think, of course, the numbers have,
festival we don't get
there's a festival for everything, but I think also it's a way of getting young people getting themselves busy. It's a way of young people trying to see how they can venture into the entrepreneurship world. I strongly feel this is a way they also want to express their creative skills. I see everything positive about what they want to do, but of course there are also the downsides, because capacity is very important, and these things take a lot of resources getting them right. I feel eventually, there are a lot of people who are into festivals. What would have made it easy would have been collaborative work.
Sure.
So you have 10, 20, 50 festivals. Maybe you just need 5.
Okay.
And like music, where you have different genre, we have ECOFEST Music Festival. I try so hard to explain to people that you need to have a background of what it is that you truly want to do,
like a niche within
exactly. So I tell them,
festivals, right?
If I am to bring just one artist, it will never be ECOFEST.
Right.
So a lot of people, why did you bring Boko artists? If you just take one, you take 2, and that's it, you make money. I'm like, then it will, because this is a festival of ECOWAS nations,
right? And
by extension, trying to bring some form of African unity through music and arts, creative art. So basically that's what I see. And also, most of the time you're doing something and people think you're doing something right, and they like it.
It inspires.
It inspires them. And a lot of people, true.
Emily, why did you start Food Fest? Is it because you were inspired by, like Kabaka is talking about, people see someone, let's say you see someone doing ECOFEST and you're like, okay, people turning out, it looks like something is happening. Did you get inspired by other festivals that were happening in Sierra Leone? What led you to start Food Fest?
Well, I loved the idea of festivals, but for me it was not a festival per se.
Okay.
First one I attended was Madeng, and it was very beautiful.
Okay.
But the whole idea about Food Fest came when I was working back then, and I explained to my boss, because we were doing food delivery.
Okay.
So I explained to my boss.
So the company you were working for was a food delivery company?
Yes.
Okay.
So we did.
Which company was this?
Go Shop and Go Food, Edmond Noni.
Okay.
Yes. So I did explain to him one time, and we were going to do it at Golf Club, actually.
A food festival for the brand?
Well, not for the brand per se. It was because I wanted us to have all these food vendors that we delivered from to be in one place, and we have customers who are buying from them to also be there.
Create a marketplace between the food vendors
and the customers.
Sure.
So it was basically that idea. I never thought it would be something big. I just wanted something like that.
Sure.
And I explained to him it was going to happen, but then something came up. He couldn't go through with it. So a year passed, and a year or two, or probably three, in fact, nothing was done. So I decided to try on my own.
Okay. Aziz, I mean, okay, so when I think of Unifest, I feel it just makes sense, right? You're like, oh, a festival for universities. That's what I think about.
Yeah.
Is that what Unifest is? A festival for the universities?
From the initial stages up until now, that's the vision.
Okay. Tell me about the vision.
Exactly. So shout out at this point. I'd like to shout out the team.
More
Like-
fire, more fire.
Hamid, Kande, and of course Jazz. It's been a long run. So there was this time my friend called me, Hamid, and he told me, Sam, I get idea, and I go like for leading at the who they discuss them. Then I showed up. They had previously discussed it, and on the second meet, we were present.
Okay.
And it was an idea they cooked up as for a whole day. It was brainstorming how to bring. We all left high school. We left high school, Lekemi. When I wanted to sit the WAS, I told myself, a false life bring me now. So
For Kansas City was?
science stream. Sit WAS na science stream.
Okay.
So there's so much struggle you go through in the educational system in Sierra Leone. There's so much you go through being human from these ends of the world. So it was from that thought process, personal experiences they were going through, and same here in college, they decided to bring up something to bring joy to the self and the populace.
Okay.
And yeah, since then, that has always been the vision, to bring events to maximize the potential of students and the university associated bodies.
Okay, so you're saying it came about because a bunch of you found yourselves in academic fields or streams where you didn't feel like you had enough creative expression.
Yes.
So you wanted to come up with something that would allow, like no matter what you were studying, like a way for people to be able to express themselves creatively without feeling stifled. Okay, well, me did at this stream, and not really, because I did at this stream, I make false life. But now I don't sabi myself, like create a pathway for my own expression.
Yeah, it started small, really. We have, we even celebrate.
When did you do your first event?
It's supposed to be in 2019.
Okay.
It's supposed to be 2019 plus 5,
Okay.
24.
Okay. All right, because this
Soonest.
was your fifth Unifest? Okay.
Yeah. We've always been making events, inviting people, making parties in high school. So it started on a low scale. And when we went to college, we found this space we didn't want to be a part of, but must be a part of. We had the solution for us, with us, from school, making activities and just going to where we are able to feel free. And yeah, where there's purpose, there's paper.
Oh, okay, paper, big money. Okay, speaking of money, let's come to the big chief. So, Kabaka, I mean, for people looking on the outside, right? Like I know differently because I've had one-on-one conversations with you over the years. But for people looking on the outside, they see ECOFEST or music festivals as this like bottomless pit of financial prosperity, right? It's like, now they the money, Kabaka, they make money, this kind of thing. And I do feel like maybe that's what has inspired people, right? So maybe not necessarily the actual music or what you're doing within the ecosystem, but this perception that there's all this money in it, and so it's driving people to also come because they're looking for the paper. Is this maybe the festival format or the music festival format? Is it lucrative enough as it is in Sierra Leone? Is there enough space? Is there enough support? Is there enough resources? Is it lucrative? And if it isn't lucrative, why do you keep doing it?
Okay, so first and foremost, I have always believed that there are stages in doing things. I believe in building up. So, of course, I didn't expect it to be profitable in the start, Well, but every businessman, you want to break even.
Of course.
So you want to
Passing
put
all
your money.
losses.
Exactly. But that was not the case actually in the at least few editions. We started in 2018. And of course, sometimes you feel you've gotten everything right. And then they are just the odds, okay? You have people, they're standing in line, but someone is impatient. You have police officers there, they want to sell your tickets, want to put people in. Some of them will stand out there impatient and they break through the doors, through the gates and get in by force. So if you have thousands of tickets you want to sell, practically you can't sell them. So you have this grand plan, you've done all your promotions, people have come to your event, but you cannot now translate, their presence into pecuniary
So
value.
the numbers are there,
Yeah,
but
you cannot
the
convert.
revenue model
Yes.
is it's a different kind. I don't even understand that kind of problem there.
Yeah.
Where you get the traffic, right? So people know it's going to happen. They show up.
Yeah, but
right?
they don't want to pay to
But
get
their
in.
showing up does not translate
Guarantee in-
into
yes.
revenue earned. So externally we're seeing, oh my
All
God,
these
there's so
numbers.
many people
Exactly,
there,
but
but it's not
in the
paying
box
customers.
office, there's no money.
Let's say if we're looking about mathematically, just to get an idea of I guess why the math is not mathing. If we're talking about 100%, right, of ticket sales, what percent of tickets do you actually sell in comparison to the amount of people who get in?
Okay, so different years. Okay. Let's say in 2018, we were able to do probably 60% ticket sales. Okay.
And then
But-
40% of the other one they will enter
Yes.
and are just
So now look at it this way. So in 2019, we're actually able to sell, let's say, 90% of the tickets.
Okay.
But now look at it this way. So the tickets that sold the most, these were the cheapest tickets.
Of course.
And when you do the conversion into USD, you haven't paid all that money.
Hey,
you
forget about it.
definitely cannot, you understand?
Right.
So we were looking at a situation where you want like presidential stand to be sold out. You want the stage area to be sold out because these are,
Sure, premium.
Yeah. But then, of course, the cheapest will always, be the highest to sell out. But coming back, to looking whether it's a lucrative venture, as I said, I believe in building. So I was, of course, of the view that you can start small and you imagine you maintain a brand. And then, so my hope then was that, hey, start this just like any business.
Yeah, build it and they will come.
Somebody comes to you, hey, I have an idea, Vicky. I want you ask, what have you done? So my point was, okay, this is the concept. We bring all these countries together. What's the benefit? We're trying to showcase Sierra Leone out there. Bottom line, all these big festivals, you can relate to Nigeria having like the Calabar Festival. You can relate to all these other festivals across the world, and they don't get to invite our musicians to go and perform there. So it's like nobody stopped us from having our own.
Right.
But the thing is, nobody wants to take that initiative. But now I know why. Because it costs so much money and it brings so much pain. You lose so much. I mean, it's no joke. So the thing is, I mean, I look at all these others. I mean, with all due respect, but sincerely, just one act can at least host 10 other festivals.
Right.
Just one international act,
Right.
considering the budget.
Right.
Okay. So, but I'm thinking if I'm doing this, then you get to a space where others will see the vision and they'll buy into it.
Sure.
So I mean, for the past couple of years, I remember having to sit with like Skybank and the entire board. The MD was there, chairman of the board, and I did a PowerPoint presentation wanting them to support us, asking for $50,000.
Small money.
Yeah, then, okay. And they actually came up with 40,000. But now, I mean, looking at all the expenses and stuff, you just know, okay, but then you also have other sponsors who like, no, give you money. But if you want stage, we'll give you stage. But, you want sound system, we'll give you
That's
sound
India,
system.
not like come.
And the truth is, like you said, people will look at it. I've had those calls. So let me tell you the irony. So you have a budget, let's say, you spend in excess of 400,000 USD, and then at the end of the show, maybe you get to see possibly 100 or 200 grand. You've lost maybe half of the money because you can't account for those who went in.
Yeah.
And then the show is over, and then people call you the following day. Kabaka, we see that show,
No shame.
You know, and you're like, you're bleeding inside because you know what it is. But my solace has always been that, okay, we're building a brand.
Sure.
I'm sure. I mean, of course, not to today them don't ask you for resilient. We'll be doing resilient before. You know,
we do not allow that word on the Make Sierra Leone Famous. We're not resilient.
But I am.
You know, it is. You know,
I'm
that's
resilient.
no.
A Sierra Leonean who's resilient is resilient. You know, I'm resilient.
No. I reject it. Why? Because I say, being long suffering is not resilience. It's abuse.
Okay.
Right. If Altair they suffer, they say no. This one is again. Actually, it's just like we're just in a state of constant scuba and survival.
I mean,
now because
I won't argue that. But bottom line is, I got into a space where I was like, you know, I have
great friends.
Yeah. I have people in Nigeria and Ghana, other places where they're doing these festivals. I remember once the Bolare in Ghana. You know, doing Ghana Meets Niger, and he was like, look, Kabaka, you know, like almost all these tickets, these are for sponsors. And you look at their backdrop, you see like 100 sponsors there, real sponsors. I remember we were at the Movenpick, you know, and most of those rooms were not paid for. Okay, you got air tickets and all this stuff. And I look at these things every time you get to ECOFEST. You have to buy tickets for these people. You can't even, some of the hotels. I remember when I tried to, you know, voice out that we were not getting enough support. How about, you know, the tourism and so on.
Everybody.
And someone tried to bring up an issue that, oh, you know, there was this thing with this particular hotel. You understand? They didn't get their money on time. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, this is a whole association of hotels. So you now want to take one isolated incident without hearing my own side. Okay, we don't owe them a dime. Okay, but you were talking about timeline. So what they were talking about is they want a blow-by-blow payment. They don't do that for any. You understand? If you bring in 10 guests, you have to pay for all the 10 guests. They'll tell you, okay, we'll give you a little discount, but all of this must be paid for at this moment, at this instant.
Right.
Knowing fully well that there's a lot of pressure.
Okay.
But coming back, the support, of course, is zero when you look at all those instances. But other countries are having that. My point is, we're doing a lot. Our festival on all these, all the other festivals, at least to get young people and Sierra Leoneans entertained and engaged.
Yeah.
And so,
you need escapism.
So the ecosystem comes. Imagine. I mean, you were saying something about engaging your firm to do promotional work. Okay, that is one part. There are people who, for the year, they're just waiting for festivals like that so they can make their highest sales.
Of course,
you understand.
Of course.
So you understand. Some people are selling drinks. Some people, and there are people who print T-shirts. They are waiting to print 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 T-shirts. All of these, there's an ecosystem.
Down. Sure, exactly. Absolutely. But Emily, do you find the same cognitive dissonance, or not cognitive dissonance, but disproportionate number of kind of business volume? Because I mean, I've never been to one of your events, unfortunately, because I haven't been in town. But are the numbers matching for you? Do the volumes and the traffic translate to make you feel like this is a profitable venture, that people are coming in, and the actual revenue, right, that you're putting, the investment that you're making, you're generating in revenue, even if you're not necessarily profitable, but you're like, okay, this is growing from year to year, so I can see that like there's a positive trend upward.
So I started with a crowd of about 500 to 700.
Okay.
And last year we had about 4,000, maybe 4,005.
Okay. Where are you having your festivals?
We started at Kalon Kappa.
Okay. And where are you now?
So now we're at Radisson.
Okay. At the gardens. Okay.
Yes. For us, it's not about sales of tickets because we just sell at the gate on the day of the event. We don't
Sure.
do pre-sales.
Sure.
I do not have the energy for that.
Sure.
We do sell tickets, but there's just some people, no matter how hard they see you trying, they find ways, they find loopholes to get away with your money. No matter how much you trust them.
Oh, so these are people who are at
These
the
are
gates
people who are actually
that
at the
you've
gate or
employed.
might be
part
part
of
of
your-
the team or something.
I see.
So there were instances where someone would come at me and be like, oh, I saw that person take money. I'm like, why didn't you accuse him in front of me so that we will settle it right then and then? Because
Right.
there's this thing with people and money. After event, if you ask someone or you tell someone, you start giving excuses, they're like, oh, you don't owe me yon. We don't can work at the event, then now you don't have to pay me. So for me, even if I don't have a dime the next day, someone will not know because I will find other ways to get money.
Sure.
But I will find all means to pay people because I don't want that.
Right.
They don't care. After events, they just want to be paid. They just want to get money because they saw a number of people coming in. But I've had times where I had to deal with tickets that have been sold. It's actually sold. It's not there. No
Okay.
evidence of any tickets left.
But
then
there's
the
no
money,
money
yes, there's no
to-
money to account for that.
Okay.
And you can't go pointing fingers at someone because then there's the pre-event where they've done work and there's no evidence of you seeing them taking money or going away with money. So there was this one. It was very interesting. I never got to confront them. I never asked them till this day. So they were at the gate and apparently they got away with a bag full of
A bag of money?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't know. I was not there because I'm always inside. Maybe we're having light issues, so I'm there with vendors. I'm at the gates trying to make sure everything's okay. I'm all over the place. So someone met me, someone that knows them directly. Someone met me after the event, a few months after the event, and he was like, oh, they had this confusion. They were having an argument about how to share the money. One wanted a larger percentage. I'm like, what?
Wait, so after the N50 money, then the beginning negotiate students.
How for shave the money? Oh, that's who on
Sure.
the money. Why in forgets
Okay,
the most and
okay,
this and that?
okay.
I'm like, but these are people that I thought they were having difficulties in life. They're not gonna work. So I'd go there and say, okay, when I come near and
I thought you were doing
I
like
pay them
charity
well.
work.
To be honest, I pay them well. So
Okay.
for some of my team members, I probably started paying them more than any event.
Okay.
So they may always use we as reference when they go other side them. So for the fact that actually they make sure that they deprive me self, even they pull from me your money based on performance, because I pay based on performance. So based on performance, I can even try for go the extra mile, even if I take from me your money for pay person. So the fact that they did that, it may actually heartbreaking. But me, I'm a risk taker. Anybody who know me knows how to take risk. And the fact that the end of the day, that's on them.
Right.
It's not on me because I have the evidence to show that this is growing.
Sure.
It's going there. So the best I can do every other time now for tighten security and
Okay.
make sure say everything else stay on point.
Okay.
So
Aziz, you guys have been doing Unifest you just had your 5th year. I went last year for the first time to the one at, was at a beach, Sugarland Beach. And I remember thinking that there were lots and lots and lots of people here to a point where I actually thought it was unsafe, to a point where the stage actually broke, which means that it was unsafe. I was up there and I was like, this stage feels like it's gonna break.
and it-
This stage feels like it's gonna break.
manifested it then.
Oh no, you know, like
And
wait,
it's your
wait.
fault,
I'm like,
too.
there are a lot of people here. This thing that doesn't look sturdy. Say then ASEAN. Okay, I thought it was gonna break. It has broken partially. Then I started like protecting people. Okay, no master wood if you master wood, it go down. And then finally, the stage actually broke, right?
It's a good thing in the streets. but-
Yes, for your reputation. Yeah, that we enjoyed saying the
Well,
stage
off
broke.
the streets,
Of course,
no.
of course. And I guess my question to you is that you guys have a company, right? Varsity, which is the owner of the Unifest brand, right? So like Varsity is a company and Unifest
Sure.
is a product
Yeah,
of the company. How does that, and it doesn't belong to one person,
No.
right? How does working in a team perhaps improve your chances, or you think has improved your chances of financial success or growth with the brand? Does it help or does it hurt? Are you having the same kind of issues where, people within the organization are taking and going, or is everybody invested in protecting the revenue that the Unifest is generating?
What I'd like to say, there are certain information
Okay,
I
yes.
signed
I understand.
NDAs,
Okay.
so-
Non-disclosure agreements.
Yes,
Okay, I
so-
understand.
But what I can tell you in terms of numbers and revenue generation, the immediate circle, because we gave birth, it's just like having a child.
Okay.
We gave birth to the idea.
And you made the initial investment.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if there's not much, I don't think there's much ongoing from those ends. It's when we start expanding.
Okay. As you scale up. Okay.
Yes, when you bring people in.
So beyond the initial group of people who founded the organization, because you're growing, you need to bring people in. That's when
Yes.
the culture and the values are different.
Exactly. So as Mr. Kabaka rightly said, and Emily, there's always going to be people who would want to make holes in your bucket, and whether knowingly or unknowingly, and it's a very tough challenge. Let me give you a scenario so that we better understand. When we did the very first year, we ran into a loss.
Okay.
That's it lasted for almost a year plus. And what happened in Sugarland last year was twice the number in the second year at Sugarland again.
Okay.
And it was so much that we were able to cover all debts and be able to be on good footing.
Okay. For this year.
Yep. No, for the third year then.
For the third year. Okay.
Then
Okay.
I'm explaining for the second year.
Okay.
So when that happened, the numbers did cover what we wanted to cover, but it still didn't make sense.
Like business sense.
Yes, it
Okay.
didn't make business sense.
Okay.
So there are loopholes. We always the friend I'm working for. They say na treating they come between mortal man and paddy then. One of them is money.
Of course.
So even within the innate circle, there's tension. So the rise of tension, there's disconnect in the team. There's disconnect I'm not talking the Unifest team. I'm talking
Okay.
about when I'm given in a broader perspective.
Sure. Kabaka, so we didn't have ECOFEST this year. I went last year, actually. Last year was my first ECOFEST.
Oh.
I went last year. And I remember, and I know that previous years you've had it at the National Stadium. And this past one I went to was in King Tom somewhere. And so I was expecting there'd be an ECOFEST this year. And I think a lot of people were expecting it. So why did we not have Sierra Leone's biggest music festival this year? And are you not concerned that you yourself are creating a vacuum maybe that may be filled up by other entities, other festivals, who would then come and take away from ECOFEST's position in the market?
No.
Okay.
So let me say this. I mean, there's no monopoly over these things. It's a matter of whoever wants to do whatever.
Any side, festival and enjoyment. Anybody can make festivals.
But this is what I've always told myself. If before we started, with all the hopes, that you can build a brand and it will be carried along, sponsors will be there. If I had known, I mean, I have no regrets having done what I've done, and I will do it again. But I would not have started in the first place. Okay, that's one. So
what you're saying, if you knew everything you knew
everything
today,
that I've experienced now, that
you would never have started
I would never
ECOFEST.
have done it.
Okay.
Never. So the point is, if you said it earlier on, that when you do stuff like this, we have created a niche. Okay, and as far as we are concerned, whoever wants to compete in that space, okay, bring in 10, 20 international acts from, 10 or 15 different countries, then we know you actually have, what it takes,
Sure.
and then you can compete with what we are doing. So, and pretty much I know even for us, a festival like Madeng, that's where, that's what we can remember.
Do you feel like Madeng is bigger than you, or you're bigger than Madeng?
Well, I mean, we are in a different space.
because you're also in a national stadium,
Yes,
right? That's
yes. We are in a
volume-wise,
different-
it's a bigger number.
Most of these festivals, they cannot fill a stand
Of
at the
course,
stadium.
of course,
The stadium takes 3,000 people.
Right. The stand at the
so the
stadium.
The stand,
just the stand is 2,000 to 3,000
That's
people,
okay.
right?
So looking at most of these venues, I mean, it's okay. And again, like I said, you're doing a festival that attracts domestic,
Sure.
basically
Sure.
national. So when you're dealing with people outside who come, let me give you an example. Shatawale is in Ghana.
Yes.
He came last year. We negotiated, and Shatawale was supposed to come with only 7 people. Okay, 15 of them came. So if you're planning to host 7 people and the artists, you would have booked a hotel, 7 rooms, and a suite. We had 2 business class tickets, him and his manager, okay, and the rest. But
Kabaka, you know when they fly me business class?
and imagine Shatta came with 7 other people that I had never planned for.
Okay.
And now it means you have to get hotels for all those people.
Sure.
So that is outside his money. Okay. That is, of course, not cheap. But now looking at all of that, if I tell someone that just Shatawale, all his expenses, cost me between 40, 50,000 or plus, you understand? And now you look at some of the budgets of these festivals that we look at.
Sure.
I don't think they can put $50,000 or $100,000 down to do something.
Of course.
Not
The
in that
business-
region.
the business is
not
not
in that
there.
region.
The business is not
But
there.
also, sincerely speaking, let's look at the venue. Sierra Leoneans, we like something that's let's say that's the norm. We like the status quo. You want to come to the stadium.
We don't like it's nice.
that you understand. So you come.
Let not push too much.
You are at the stadium. Someone drops you at Side Street. You don't go inside. So now I went beyond all odds. Everything told me that we cannot have the festival outside the stadium.
Of course.
We went to Bo. I just took one artist to the provinces, Bo and Kenema. Would you believe that we cannot find a hotel or a restaurant good enough
course.
for Awilo Logomba to have dinner?
I can believe that.
There were no seafood in the whole seafood. Like this man wanted prawns in Bo. Will not see prawns.
What time did
The whole place, you understand? This man virtually refused
He
to
only
sleep
eats
in one of
seafood.
the hotels.
Hey, but even FIFA, not to that make them say
exactly
the stadium not be able to host the game, then get for go Liberia because hotel not there now, bo.
So look at a situation like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so and we said, what, let's do the football academy. But now people come to King Tom Bridge and we have to get bikes to get
Yeah, it
in.
was-
And then there's Raimane Bokuyan. I went against all those odds. And I will tell you, we suffered a heavy blow.
Yeah, of
in the
course,
sense
yeah.
because financially,
Yeah, the turnout wasn't there.
And people are like, oh no, we know you do. It should have happened in November and at the National Stadium. So those 2 elements are missing.
Right.
But looking back at everything, we know for each time. So my point is, we did 2022 ECOFEST. When we are presenting our brand outside Sierra Leone, we know we did a show with Shatawale.
Of course.
It's on record.
Of course.
So everyone that has come, aside from what we got, in terms of gate takings or selling of tickets, the fact remains that we were able to
Sure.
host
As a
show
festival
as a
producer,
exactly.
you've been able to host these many awesome
artists.
Emily, you had a point of objection around the kinds of investment that people were putting into their festival. What did you want to say?
For me, I'm not very big on artists.
Okay.
That's not
Well,
my-
music is not your
Yes,
thing,
music
right?
is
Right.
not.
Food is your.
I do love music,
Uh-huh.
yes, but music is, food is what I'm into, is what I do. So my focus is more on vendors making sales. And that's very important. That is what the whole event is
Sure.
about, vendors, sales. And branding, I think, is what most events lack. Well, a lot of festivals coming up now, they just...
When you
put
say
20
branding, you
together.
mean like a niche, like something specific that they're offering where you say, this festival you go to this festival for X, right? ECOFEST Music Festival is the festival for
Music.
ECOWAS international artists coming to Sierra Leone.
Yes, that we know.
Exactly.
Is what it's for.
Exactly. And then Food Fest is
Just
we're
food.
here to get vendors who are in the food space to meet with get new audiences,
Just come
right? Or
eat.
customers to taste their food.
Yes.
Okay.
And but then apart from just a niche, I mean branding the event itself.
Okay.
If you go through a lot of event pages on Instagram or Facebook for events happening in Nigeria or Ghana, the way they brand their event. When you go in, even if they're using the same space, it's like a different environment.
Oh, you mean
every
the
time you step
actual
in.
experience
experience.
inside the festival? Okay.
Pre-event, on the day event, and even follow-ups after the event. I feel like we still have a lot to do with that.
Sure.
People focus more on just having the crowd
Numbers,
coming in,
right.
but then you don't focus on building. You know, people go to events, they don't even know the name of the events they went to.
Sure.
They just went there because of the hype.
Right.
But then you don't leave the name imprinted in it. ECOFEST is a very big brand, and I really admire what they do. And even when the whole thing came out the last time, I told them the expenses, you know, because our local minds will never understand what the event person is going through, what the organizer is going through. So it's always going to be there. Every time I get money, I would rather do something different. So every time they come in, they feel like it's a new experience.
What are the new experiences you're bringing into Food Fest as a
My
brand?
budget-
What have you done each year?
I don't have money. So
Okay.
it's a game. It's
Right.
a game at this
Okay.
point. But so even this year, what we're trying to do is give aprons out to the
Okay.
vendors
Okay.
with our brand, because the sponsor that was supposed to come in, for now they don't see the value
Okay.
in it, and that's okay, because we just want to make sure that we continue doing what we're doing, because I know where I want us to go
Sure.
or where I want us to be, and we're
Sure.
going to go there, even if it means I don't have to take money home after the event. I just want it to be successful and have
Okay.
something that people remember.
Okay.
So
You know what's really interesting as I hear you guys speak is that you've all, and I don't know if this is a question of doing business in Sierra Leone or just like the festival space, but it seems like while in other places, the measure or indicator for success is profit, all of you have kind of, well, maybe outside of Unifest, I don't know if this is the same for Unifest, but as I listen to Kabaka and Emily speak, it seems like you've accepted a deferment. Like, it's a business and there's a business model, but you're like, yeah, okay, I know say the profit's not there, but still, I will keep going, and I'll keep going, I'll keep going. And I'm like, why keep going, right, with a venture? Because the goal of every business is to either sell services or products for profit, right? When you start out, you won't, most businesses don't start out making a profit, right? Like, are you guys giving yourself like
Yeah,
I don't know,
exactly, like a time
do you in
Yeah.
your
A
time
mind
frame.
have like
Yeah.
okay, I will do this for X years or
So I actually did my research.
Okay.
I met quite a lot of people in Nigeria and also, you know, in Ghana. And the thing was, if you are really into business like this, you know, except maybe you break even, but thinking of making profit, like real money, you have to do this for at least 5 years.
Okay,
And not expect
okay,
profit.
okay.
So it's just like, you know, like I said, I believe in building, like building the brand. Then you hope you get to a point where people know, you know, we want to do business with
sure, because
ECOFEST.
you've created so much value in ECOFEST that others come to you to say, hey, we know you have the numbers, so we want to come to you because we want to reach
So
the
and
numbers
this,
that you
and this is what gives me hope. So
Okay.
so I spoke about like 2021.
Yeah.
And last year I spoke with the MD at UBA, and their head office, you know, sanctioned $50,000 for the festival. So I told myself, okay, this is just one bank.
Okay.
So imagine if you have 10 of them believing in what you're
Sure,
doing.
sure.
Imagine if you have, you know, 20 people who will decide that, yes, we think this is worth it. We can put $50,000 each. Then you'll be like those people out
Sure.
of Sierra. And mark you the whole idea of profit, because we've refused to grow at the pace of others in the world. people don't sell tickets at the gates anywhere. You know what I'm talking about. And
They do, but you just have to pay more.
Well,
if you have to buy it at the gate, you're paying more.
But before you get there, most of these festivals, the tickets are already sold out online. You understand? So, Barcelona, Amanga for the day for the show, they remember for getting money for go pay the gate.
Because I mean, let's think about it, right? At the end of the day, 70% of Sierra Leoneans live in a state of food insecurity. About 90% of the workforce are in the informal economy. If you really not go tote today, if you not go work today, not eat today. So that 20,000 or 30,000 for pay for ECOFEST, that ain't a money we get for make today, right? So that's who the consumers are, right? The mass consumers. And then of course you have like the 1%ers who, I don't know, the Kabakas of this world who don't have to worry. Thank you. You don't have to worry about money. It's just like, is it $1 million? Why are you disturbing me? Small money like this.
It's more like the Vicky we can walk into the festival. We don't have to pay. Just
don't show my face.
Just show your face.
So, Emily, how are you giving yourself a certain amount of time before? I mean, like, because growth can happen in so many different ways. You can grow up, you can grow sideways, but how much longer are you? I've heard you say, even if I don't make money, I've heard you say that a lot, which tells me like, maybe Emily isn't making a lot of money from this festival. It don't sacrifice, right? But as a model for the festival, right? And other people who are thinking of going into this now, what do you know now about doing the festival as a business, right? That you think that people who are coming into like the event planning, events management, event production space in the festival space should be thinking about to make sure that they are going home with money at the end of the day. How do you make the math? Even forget the mistakes you've made. You know, how do you make the math? What do you think is the secret sauce to profit in the festival business? What are you doing, basically, what are you doing wrong, Emily, that
I am making money.
Okay.
Just not the
profit.
type of money I do make profit.
You do make a profit. Okay, fantastic.
Profit. I'm a business person.
Okay.
I always find a way to make profit.
Great. That's fantastic.
But I have certain goals. Mm-hmm. So until I get there, I tell myself I am not making money.
Okay.
For me, growth is doing something extra than what I am currently doing. So when we first got to Gambia, when we first started doing Food Fest in Gambia, it was almost surreal because it was just a conversation between me and someone at Afisol, and the person said, I have someone I can introduce you to. Because I was finding a local partner there. He introduced me to a local person, a Sierra Leonean in Gambia. Sure. We spoke, we did the event, about 500 people came in. Nice. I went for the first time to my own event in Gambia. This year, and it had about 2,000 people. For me, that is growth.
Of course.
Because 2,000 people left their houses to come to a salon type of event in Gambia. So that alone is growth. We're about to do an event in Liberia in February.
Nice.
We now have a partner there. Okay. We're about to do an event in the USA, in the DMV, Food Festival there. Okay. So that alone for me is growth. No amount of money that I would earn here would, be compared to me stepping outside of salon and doing something and people really buying into it. Sure. And for me, that alone, in its sense, is success.
Right. So your model for you right now is turning it into kind of like a franchise, and allowing other people to do it. Sierra Leoneans in other places to use.
Not necessarily Sierra Leoneans. To be honest, if I just have a local partner on the ground,
just a local partner,
we have,
right?
A sort of arrangement. I get them what they need from my side, and they do what they need from their side.
Okay, so they can just kind of like buy into the brand.
Not buy. We have a sort of partnership.
Okay.
Yes, and. People coming into the event space, they come in with the thought of making profit. But in business, even before money comes in, money has to go. Sure. You have to spend. And in our space, it's either you go borrow money when you're about to make your event, or you take your own personal money. I am not a very big believer of spending my money in business. Okay. So you either take your own money and put into it, or you go lend from someone, go borrow from someone. Sorry, because not all sponsors will buy into your event.
Of course, especially if you're just starting out.
Especially if you're just starting out. It's just, I think, say, I will get this number of people, But they come in thinking of what they would get. They don't begin to estimate already. So they get 3,000 people. If we sell with tickets 150, how much do they get? That kind of thing. But then they forget that they have to pay for the space. They have to print out the tickets. Then go for pay their team afterwards. If the vendors then not sell, you don't lose your credibility first with the vendors.
If I don't make money, then I know they come back
and
next
they come
year.
again.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things to the event. There's marketing where they eat money inside event. If you check out one of the major costs in events,
Ask Kabaka, I will tell you.
In budget, tell me budget. One close all this international budgeting, please.
Hey, Kabaka. For the record, I've never raised my rates for Kabaka. The same guy will be in Panaukindepa. You go say, oh no, remember I've been doing last year. No, just do a back here. They give you the money quick. 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 No, just left and so like I mean, I was having pay last day. Okay, just take it. Just in fact, just all the money once. I sell it.
So you don't see money.
Yeah, basically.
Multiple
that's what he does. That's what he does.
So,
yeah.
Because some marketing costs, really, if you check, like in your own, probably nami whole event in budget.
Of course.
So,
marketing
really
but
intensive.
also, just, a little digression. I feel that is what is missing in salon space. People need to advertise.
Right.
Maybe sometimes not the
people don't. Sierra Leone, are you listening? You don't advertise.
They don't believe in these things. You understand? But that is actually what business is. Otherwise, there won't be any ad for Nike or Coca-Cola.
I mean, if you Google festivals, this is what I tell people that ultimately, in my space, if you're only interested in staying in Sierra Leone, if your goal is just Freetown or Makeni or Kenema, if your dreams are small, then it's okay. I feel like it's okay to not want to brand. It's okay to not market, to not advertise. But one of the things...
Can I step in, please?
Sure. Let me just finish my thought. One of the things that Kabaka and I always talked about was just that, you want, especially for something like ECOFEST, right? Though your festival is successful, not just it's growing and I'm making money, but when people start traveling or creating a calendar and saying, I get for this salon November because I know one for Miss ECOFEST, whether it's Sierra Leoneans within the country, whether it's Sierra Leoneans outside the country, whether it's other foreigners. That's how you know. I mean, right now everybody's talking about Dirty December in Ghana, right? Yeah. Ghana is now Dirty December has always been there for West Africa and Africans going home, but Dirty December has now been Ghana now owns Dirty December. Why? Because Ghanaians, after the year of the return, Ghanaians realized that Ghana had positioned itself so smartly as this global destination for the global Black diaspora, right? Ghanaian, no matter outside and come out, they want for why? Because Afrofuture is going to happen, right? And what's the other one they do from Europe? There's another festival, not Afro Nation, right? Yeah. So if you have those two big festivals happening annually, I think Afro Nation wanted to go to Nigeria, they're not be able to do it, they don't cancel it. But Ghana has become this global citizens happened in Ghana this year. Ghana has positioned itself as this place. And I tell you, when I get into a taxi and when I land in DC or I land in New York and I'm in an Uber, and the driver, no matter where they're from, they're like, I just get from the airport, I'm in an Uber, I'm going home. And they're like, oh, where are you coming from? I'm like, oh, I'm coming from Ghana. They're like, oh, Ghana, I want to go to Ghana. I've been seeing this, I've been seeing that. I saw Conan O'Brien go to Ghana. I saw this, I saw it on Good Morning America. Ghana is such a big brand. And yes, people, when it comes to December now, but people who have no connection to Ghana know that Ghana is the place to go because you have all this festival activity that are going on. And I say that because I feel what advertising and marketing do is that if people are Googling, festivals in Sierra Leone, if you're not doing marketing and you're not really branding yourself, they won't find you, right? So nobody not get for left any side for calm. Exactly. Go ahead, Aziz. You wanted to say something.
The first question was the very first one you asked, Mr. Kabaka. It was the surge of the festivals.
Right.
May I believe in everything. The world is as physical as spiritual. So the humans, Black and Sierra Leoneans to be specific, spiritually we have suffered. And I believe, on the last talk I had, that every nation has what it desires from its people for them to flourish as a nation and as a people. Sierra Leone, if we're at this particular stage, is because we as a people have not been in the past maximizing our full potential or what the land requires
Sure.
of us.
Of course.
It's called Freetown for a reason. It requires you to unleash, to release, to experience. And there's this saying I always tell people that, again, we are where we are because everybody thinks it's alone at that book and pen no more. Yes, we do need a civic side. We do need a governance system. But what Sierra Leone needs to compete, be known, seen outside of where we are now, is to explore entertainment more. So,
Totally agree with you.
so that's the reason spiritually it's itching from inside.
Okay. You think
So-
it's a response
It's
to...
a response to
It's
the-
like, it's a trigger, right? Something has been...
Exactly.
People feel... Young people have not had an outlet in so many
No.
ways. And they still don't, to be really honest with you, in Sierra Leone. It's that, like, when you think about prosperity, it's not something you associate with young people. Success, wealth, prosperity, even like other than the youthful the joy of youthful exuberance. Young people are really not the most underemployed, unemployed, 70% unemployment, etc., etc. So like, yeah, I agree with you that it's a response, not maybe, okay, you look at it as a spiritual response. I would say it's like an economic response, right? That there's a hustler.
I'm
like,
coming to that part
Okay,
as
okay,
well.
they go to the hustler
Yeah.
part. Okay.
So that's the reason you find people wanting to be involved. Now, you talk about marketing and success. The first thing is success comes with from the initial stages. Most people do not care to have a well thought of niche
Right.
to establish the brand. Think of ECOFEST, tells you everything you should know.
Right, right.
Food Fest, rhetorical.
Absolutely.
Unifest, obvious.
Absolutely.
So as I'm saying,
Singles Fest, Single Ladies Coalition Festival. Hey, we coming. We gonna have the biggest festival in this country. Okay, watch out
So,
for
yeah.
it.
Everybody think it's easy. Everybody think it's easy until they attempt to do it. So the economic response really is people wanting to find the easiest way to make money. It's not bad.
Sure.
But from my own experience over the years as a creative director in this field, is success comes with the niche when you build. One thing event organizers don't pay attention to is the creative side, setting
Right.
up the events for the people to experience the niche, two, the theme you're selling for that year.
Right.
If you're saying Eco Ball this year or EcoFest Ball, we should see 10,000 tennis balls on the floor.
Right.
That's creativity.
Right, right.
If you say Food Fest, Emily, definitely, I trust
We
you.
plan for the cutouts and some other things because
No,
of
no,
budget
no, I
limitations.
trust you. No, they know me. I'm quick to take out my.
The idea I had, I've just done normal.
Go on.
Oh no, because then it's a food event, yeah. So even if somebody go do them now, I go attend the pussy event. But the idea for me was,
Me they tell and say no do.
for me, I be once as person step into Radisson, it's like they go to different restaurants just in one venue.
Sure.
You walk here, it's like
So like a
Chinese
like a
restaurant, you
street,
kaya.
like a in a
Like-
lot of
like
Asian
a whole long
countries.
street with different
Right,
food,
right.
different
It's
kind
like,
experience,
street
different
food.
kind setup.
Yeah, like a bazaar.
Yes.
Like a food bazaar.
Yes.
Sure.
So,
So
yeah.
that was what I wanted to do.
So yes, I was saying, the creative side. You don't have people. Ashake they come out up stage now. O2 Arena with helicopter created. People don't think out of the box to satisfy the customers.
Sure.
It's not only the economic response.
No, not to for satisfied and not for thrill them, right? You want to
Exactly.
you want to
Adrenaline
go
rush.
beyond satisfaction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank
Yeah,
you.
somebody said, who said this? If Henry Ford had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. But he gave people what they needed. Cars. Because waiting people in Sabina at the time, now host them in Sabi.
Yes.
So if you ask them about transportation, say, which one I think so, one Spanish transportation,
Ask
say,
the horses.
yeah, lady horse, they go fast, they know they go fast, or faster carriages or whatever.
Smart.
He say, you know, it's if I ask them people they ask, so waiting they want, I'm not going able to eat, right? And that's where innovation comes from.
So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
No, I
Okay,
just
let me-
wanted to say, you
Go
know,
on.
sometimes listening, you know, to everything you're saying, you just know, our deficiencies. You understand? I mean, you want all this creativity, but I'm looking at it. Imagine you do a festival, and you want to have someone come down with a helicopter. You want to do you want to spend your best to give your best, to give your best, and somebody go pay less than $3 for this. You understand? You know.
No, we go give ladder. We pay $3 and ladder we
I
give for
think,
clean.
and you know, I think
These
I
things
think
go broke.
that is really something we have to look at. You know,
Sure.
that these things are not cheap. You know,
Sure.
and people must be ready to pay for quality.
No, forget about quality in a salon. Forget about that. But I do. Wait here, I want to add actually is that as you were talking so I have never been to. I've been to Madang one time, the first Madang, then it was outside and they call Beach Cafe now, ba. Now they did it, right?
Nade.
I went to the first Madang. Since then, I have not attended any other festivals in Sierra Leone, except I've been to ECOFEST and I went to Unifest last year. When I went to Unifest last year, one thing that stood out to me was I felt like there was a very clear and intentional direction to bring art to the event, right?
Yeah.
Whether, there were live performances that were not music, right?
Yeah, sure.
There was theater, there was spoken word, there was dancing. And the thing was, what was interesting to me was that it wasn't all excellent, right?
Yeah,
It wasn't
sure.
necessarily all excellent,
Yeah.
but together collectively, I left thinking that these people are interested in delivering an artistic experience or creative expression. And I left thinking that even though it is not yet excellent yet, I can see it evolving and growing into a place of excellence. So I was actually very, very inspired.
Yeah.
And I didn't say that to you, so I can say that to you now,
Thank
so you
you.
can feel very. So as we close out the conversation, I guess my question to you guys is, if our goal, I'm not saying this is your goal, this is my goal, and so because it's my goal now is your goal. If our goal is to make Sierra Leone famous for the right reasons, and festivals have an incredible opportunity to do that, right? And when I talk about make Sierra Leone famous, a lot of people think that it's always an external famous. But my work is actually primarily focused on making Sierra Leone famous to Sierra Leoneans, because I think that the greatest disservice of our generation is that Sierra Leoneans don't know Sierra Leone, and Sierra Leoneans don't know themselves. So even before we think about selling Sierra Leone or making Sierra Leone famous to the outside world, for me, the work is making Sierra Leone famous to Sierra Leoneans so that we know the people, we know the places, we know the culture, etc. That being said, what do you think needs to happen in your space, right? Maybe you've not done it yet. Maybe you're thinking about it, you're exploring it. And in your grand vision for the work and the contribution you're making to the space of entertainment and festivals, what do you think needs to happen in your space for you to really move this industry that you're in into the direction it needs to go, where Sierra Leoneans can see themselves reflected in your events in a positive way, where the numbers make sense? What is this grand vision that you're trying to get to that we may not yet arrive to, but that will continue to keep this industry going? How can we use festivals to make Sierra Leone famous?
I mean, I would say, for starters, we need to get people who are willing to invest the right, resources.
Okay.
Which is very important. And we need a lot of people who are not only creative, but people with pedigree. Because
Like me, kind so.
oh, of course,
Continue.
you understand. Because I mentioned someone earlier on. Someone like Bolare.
Of course.
When you meet someone like that sitting in any room asking for any amount of money, they mean business.
Right.
So for me, pedigree is also important. So first, like you said, you want to make Sierra Leone famous, but we have to recalibrate our minds in the first place. The Salomon to a Salomon, if you ask how we go say this country now lucky country.
But you said we are resilient. So how can we both be
so,
lucky and resilient?
But that's so maybe for some other time. But I thought about it. I'm like, look, maybe something is wrong with us in some way. Okay. That is why everyone that has actually come out as, a leader, I'm not talking about 100%, but people who are
emerging
in great
leaders, people who are
leadership
rising,
positions,
yes.
you understand? They always have a plan B. There's always a country outside. There's always the families outside Sierra Leone living out of. So
then get on the side for goal.
exactly.
Right,
so like if you don't make safe, man, no worry.
Yes.
I get plan B. but coming back, talking about making here famous and this a great place for us to enjoy and our children, coming after, we have to have a mindset wherein we know we should speak positively, we should support positively, but most importantly, in the space, the festival space, we need to have a direction wherein everybody that is in the space knows that there is one objective, which is to create a positive image of Sierra Leone.
Sure.
Not only to Sierra Leoneans. Like I said, you asked the only nice alumni who say this. But if Sierra Leoneans themselves, let's say we have a situation, my ultimate goal for ECOFEST is to have a festival in Africa for a whole week, 7 days.
Sure.
This is a destination. Different. I want to see different nationalities in Sierra Leone. You want to see this in the news everywhere that Sierra Leone has something like this. And by extension, you talk about tourism, you talk about all these things and economic boom, stuff like that. That's the grand plan. But then if a thing like that happens, the owner is Salomon said, they say, hey, so we get people who are able to do this kind of thing. So this will country in a better country.
Right.
If you see foreigner, then Ikaya.
Right.
If you see people they're able to celebrate with this,
right.
Because they are unable to see that now. So that's the first point. But all of us, that should be the grand goal, that eventually we want to do something in Sierra Leone that will sell our country positively out. Because it is only when someone has all my go Ghana based on what you know, based on the things online and what is happening in Ghana.
What's being projected.
And Ghanaians are living up to that.
Right.
So not only for say create image in a facade,
people
but
in Ghana
don't lie.
Sure.
But when they get down, which is why to my first point I said we need people with the right pedigree.
Right.
Because eventually to drive all of this forward, you need the right mindset, of course, and the right caliber of people.
Not festival, but Emily, what are your last words? What do you think we need to do to, like something like Food Fest or other kind of like food related festivals in Sierra Leone or celebrations? What do you think needs to happen to really make them a destination, something on the calendar to really like move it forward?
So I do agree when you said Ghana. The reason why people want to go is because of what they've seen.
Right.
I see them on Instagram, I see certain events, I'm like, I want to be here. Like, I want to go. So it's not about who they perform for me, in fact.
Right.
It's about how, like, we get over Dirty December. You see the setup? The place just so very nice. You get the cars and in Spring. Everything just looks so different. Whose events, dinner salon will look anything like Dandy. I just want to experience Dandy. If somebody do that in Ayaso, then go charge you an arm and a leg.
Right.
But you just want to go get an experience. So for me, it's about creating an experience where people will just sit on Instagram and be like, I want for there. I want to know how salon feel like. I want to go this event.
Sure.
And there's even though it's been happening, I think people get certain events that in calendar. With December they reach, they already get events within the
Sure.
they go.
Uga for good day, yes.
Bowling, Madang.
Okay.
There's ECOFEST before that day.
Right.
There's some other events them, but they know then they go to events then they budget for the events then they. For me, my creativity limited because I not getting money for transform all that day to reality.
Sure.
But we're getting there.
Okay.
I hope in the future that we'll have people coming to this country, different nationalities. I hope we'll get different people partaking. Nigerians coming and being a part of our events, Ghanaians, Gambians, because even with the DJs, them I don't tell them, the minutes to start for make small money. We go get DJs them from this country, go play now other events them when they happen. We events them. And we can even get vendors them and make arrangements for them.
Sure.
So, that's it for me. That exchange, having Sierra Leoneans live here to go elsewhere to go sell Sierra Leone and having other people come in to experience Sierra Leone. And we need investment, obviously, but then the ones with the investment don't think that it's valuable enough. They don't see the goal, the dream here, but we'll get there again. And advertising and marketing is it, because again, if we were intentional about marketing, people will know about events the way they happen.
Of course.
It's not like we not get certain unique events them na the country. We do. We know they talk about them as much as we talk about other things. We they taking other people in culture, other people in events, we they make other people their own headache, but we need to sell we own out.
Sure.
I don't know if not because of familiarity, I don't know if not because they think say whatever they trend is what they should hop on.
Right.
But then marketing and advertising, whether it's one-on-one or whether not professional marketing and advertising, it is needed because people need to see, and people go online are they would get people right now. You post something there and people respond to you. So if I'm able to afford an event, I'm able to afford for make a budget for marketing and advertising.
I'm not going to argue with you. Not going to argue with you. Aziz, so I've seen you guys do Unifest in Freetown repeatedly. What are your next plans? Because naturally, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, you guys will take this on the road because there are universities across Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
What's in store? I don't know if you know, but is there like a bigger vision for the Unifest brand?
Yeah, sure. Like I said, I'm always signing NDAs with them.
Okay.
So plans I cannot. What I can tell you, is there are plans for the nation
Scaling and
and outside Sierra Leone.
Okay.
But what I can say right now is as a creative and somebody who's worked in the entertainment to breed people to represent the nation outside Sierra Leone, and also if it involves bringing businesses, vendors, and all that. Work with the mind that you are nurturing business for the economic growth of a nation. As one woman said, she's BKMO. It's upon us to create a private sector ecosystem.
absolutely.
At one time, she
No,
said.
I say it all the time because I don't feel like. So one of the problem that I think the mistake where people from the diaspora can make is that people from the diaspora, they come to Sierra Leone on holiday and they don't see something or they don't have an experience and they say, hey, boy, what to make salon or getty, salon for getty, salon or getty. I don't know, what to make this business at the can start. And I can always say, excellence breeds in an ecosystem of excellence.
Sure.
If you take an excellent person out of the ecosystem that makes them excellent, they stop being excellent. And so for me, I think about everything needing things to grow, right?
Yeah.
And if you start your business and you start your business, part of the reason why it doesn't grow in Sierra Leone is you all have to create the ecosystem yourself.
Yep.
You have to create an ecosystem for your business to grow, which means that you are deviating from the actual thing that is supposed to be your core business. Now all of a sudden, now you they do petrol business, you get photography business, you get not so that you just want to do a festival, right?
Yeah, sure.
But you can't focus on that because if you don't do all of those things, the actual thing you're trying to create doesn't grow. So, friends, family, Fambledem, I know that a lot of you out there are looking for ways to not just express yourself, enjoy yourself, but also, entrepreneurial ventures for make una go able forget on your own business. And right now, Kalon Kapak don't become the incubator, the lab. Kalon Kabak is the festival lab where people that want to test out the festival concept, then go na Kalon Kapak. I actually think that it is a fantastic thing because out of that energy, you may not necessarily have everybody come out of that and grow and flourish and be amazing big festivals, but people are learning business, they're learning entrepreneurship, they're also learning to cater to a market and to an audience. These are skills that are not available for them to learn at university or in their community. So I think like it's actually group. I actually think of the festivals as, Tsade will be get outing, then we get in social club, then community club. I actually see the festivals as a part of an existing social club related structure we already don't exist already. It's just that now instead of we do the festival, because then they do festival na Banana Wataya
And carnival. So
carnival festival. We used to. It's just that now.
What do you mean by Banana Wataya Sef?
Na yaso na Banana
I
Wataya.
know. They know for make festival.
No, what I'm saying is
I'm
they
joking.
used to. I'm just saying that like even at Banawata, we get festival and carnival de Nayaso, right? And so it's like it's nothing new. I say that to say that while we're seeing a rise in festivals, that it's the name and the format maybe and the destination that's changing, but this is nothing new to Sierra Leone. Sure. And it's also just creating more access. So I actually want to see a lot more of this entrepreneurial activity in the entertainment sector because, like Kabaka said, ultimately the kinds of jobs, right, that young people can access, the kinds of opportunities, we know that in this day and age, what's readily available to us is in the orange economy, the creative sector. So I want to see more festival, maybe more collaboration, but definitely also think about creating value with your festivals, right? Think beyond just profits. How do I create a niche for myself? How do I have an ECOFEST, which is specifically branded and known for a music festival that brings international acts from West Africa together? How do I create the next food fest, which is a marketplace where food vendors can come to share their food or sell their food to consumers, right? So if I've never been to X restaurants, I go to Food Fest, they're going to be there, I get to experience their food. Or Unifest, which is the largest inter-university festival for music and performing arts and,
Dope.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Dope. Dope festival for university students in Sierra Leone. Out of all of this, I think that eventually we'll get to a place where a lot of people are starting smaller businesses and just like growth and more wealth being equally, not equally, but what more money and wealth floating to young people in Sierra Leone. If you enjoy this conversation, please don't forget to share it with your friends, your best friends, your non-friends, your families on WhatsApp and social media. And if you think that the Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast should be and must be discovered by people that you don't know, don't forget to leave us a review on Apple Podcast, AudioMac, or on Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Today's episode of the Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast has been brought to you live from our studio here at VRNC Marketing in Freetown. I am Vicky Rameau, your host with the most many adjectives. But what you remember about me and what I hope you'll take away from today's conversation is that I'm the woman on a campaign to make Sierra Leone famous for the right reasons. On camera one today, we have our dope multimedia producer, Augustin Cardbo. He really is a man of many talents. On camera two, we have production assistant, Alassane Lamine Cardbo. He is no relation of Augustin Cardbo. We just get Boku Cardbo in a salon. Our sound engineer and co-producer for today's episode has been Frank Vin Bob McEwen. Don't forget to tune in every week to another salacious and interesting edition of the Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast. Ona tata.